Hello everyone, my name is Fernanda Moura and this is another video in English in this channel, O Prazer da Literatura. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, I'm going to link up here a video in which I introduce myself to you, English-speaking audience, and I also explain why I have decided to start recording some videos in English, which is to reach a broader audience. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the book Mrs. Sinclair's Luggage by Louise Walters. And this has been a very interesting surprise for me. This is a book that has been on my shelf for years, just waiting for that special moment in which I would just grab it out of the shelf and give it a go. And this moment has arrived. And I'm very happy that it has, because this reading has impacted me in a very surprising and nice way. And I'm going to talk to you all about it. So this book is really interesting because the narrative is divided into two different timelines. One, in which we follow Dorothy Sinclair, the woman to whom the luggage in the title belongs. And she lives in England in 1940, so we are in the middle of the Second World War. And in opposition, let's say, we have the present timeline, which is 2010, and the protagonist in this timeline is Roberta Pietrikowski, who is a young woman in her early mid-30s, who is still single and looking for love, let's say, and she works in a bookshop called Old and New. And this bookshop is really interesting because, as the title suggests, the name of the bookshop suggests, this shop sells new books, but also old books. And Roberta is fascinated about all the histories and previous lives hidden in between these old books. And she loves to find traces of previous owners and previous readers in these old pages. So different signatures or annotations in the margins. And sometimes she comes across old pictures or postcards or even letters, and she loves to, when she finds these little treasures and when she can imagine what the lives of these people were like. So we have these two different timelines, which is quite interesting. In 1940, so in Second World War England, we meet, as I said, Dorothy Sinclair, and she is a woman who has been in a very unfortunate marriage. She has been very unhappy, and her husband has left to fight as a soldier during the Second World War, and indeed, he doesn't come back, so she feels abandoned until she meets someone in quite an interesting way. I'm not going to tell you how she meets this person, but this man is Jan Pietrikowski, and he's a pilot, a Polish pilot, who is also fighting with England in the Ally group against Nazi Germany. During the Second World War, and they developed a very special relationship, and they develop a love relationship, which is very beautiful, but also based on certain secrets. And years later, in 2010, Roberta, the girl who works at the bookshop, she finds a suitcase which belonged to her grandmother, Dorothy Sinclair. And inside this suitcase, she finds an old letter, which was written, signed by her grandpa, Jan Pietrikowski. But the letter was signed, dated 1941. However, her grandpa supposedly died in 1940 during the war. So how could that be possible? With that letter in hand, Roberta believes she has to go looking for more information about her family and try to solve this mystery. And in doing so, she reconnects with her family history and with the story of this woman Dorothy, who was her grandmother, and all the secrets that she shared, and how those secrets, those secrets that she kept, and how those secrets shaped the story of her family. And it's very interesting in narratives like this, in which the timelines are split, as I told you before. The reader has to make sense of what he or she reads. So you have to put the pieces of the puzzle together, reading about what happened in 1940 and reading about what happens in 2010, and making the due associations and all the interpretations. And I believe this is a very interesting way of telling a story. Of course, it has to be done in a good way, and I believe this has been successfully done in Mrs. Sinclair's Luggage by Louise Walters. So I hope you have enjoyed this reading suggestion. It was a very special book for me because, I forgot to mention something quite interesting which made my attachment to the book even greater, let's say. It's because each chapter that takes place in the present in 2010, so which follows Roberta Pietrykowski, starts with an extract from a letter or of a postcard, and they mention in which book it was found and in which edition. So that's quite interesting. And the first book that she mentions, in which the first letter shows up, was, coincidence or not, if you believe in coincidences, the book Little Women by Louise May Alcott. And that is exactly the last book that I had read before I started reading Mrs. Sinclair's Luggage. So coincidence? Maybe not. Inside the book, she also mentions other novels which are quite dear to me. For instance, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. So those mentions of these books that are special to me made this book also really special to me. And if you know me, you know that I love stories with different timelines. I have explained why. And also this story gives us a glimpse, a touch of historical romance, since it takes us to 1940 England. So we have this atmosphere of the Second World War. And on top of all that, let's say the cherry on the top is the fact that Roberta works at a bookstore, and there is all these feelings about this universe of books, which I love very much. So that was an extra bonus, let's say, which made the reading even more interesting and pleasing. So that's it, guys. This is my opinion. These are my impressions in relation to Louise Walters' Mrs. Sinclair's Luggage. So let me know in the comments down below if you have already read this book or if you feel like reading it. If you have enjoyed this book, this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. I will try to record more videos in English. Most of my videos are in Portuguese, since I am a Brazilian teacher, but I will try to add more content in English so I could reach a wider audience. And I wish you happy reading and see you next video.